of it. Every drop, every taste, on the tip of my tongue, bend my nail, bite my thumb. Evidence won't clear my name. Baby, your presence will be the breath into the moment when I press my eyes shut. Now I'm ready. Your else is what we always wanted. Yeah, when we hold each other, nothing else can let us down. The only answer is what we've always wanted for. I'll do anything. I'm not asking to save mine through the perfect strength.
Eject them, it's over! Top shelf where Mama hides the cookies! Here come the Buffalo Sabres!
Woo! Welcome to I'll Hang Up and Listen. The Buffalo Sabres beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-4. Let's go! Alex Tuch back on track, 2 goals. An unbelievable shorthanded goal from Tage Thompson. JJ Paterka still tearing it up. The return of the Levi. Hurls, immediate reactions. Don't bring me down, though.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to match your energy. That was an Alex Tuch level woo from you there. That was really impressive. Yeah,
I'm sweating right now.
No two ways about it. That is a huge win for this team, especially after last night. The disappointment. There was a lot of optimism going into last night, especially after the first one against the Flyers this week. To go into Toronto and outscore a Leafs team, 3 goals from Austin Matthews, his 3rd hat trick of the season, leading the NHL in goals with 11. And to go punch for punch with that team. It never felt like the game was out of reach, especially in that second and third period, to constantly respond to the Leafs' response to the Sabres' goals. It was so impressive from an offensive perspective. We can get into the defense a little bit later. But, yeah, an absolutely massive win. No two ways about it.
Yeah, and I've been on a warpath on the Twitter machine all day, just throwing shade, doing what I do best, is just hating on the Leafs Nation, whatever it might be. Even right now, just some guy just throwing shade at us. Oh, your poverty franchise, this, that, and the other. Dude, we own your franchise. Kiss my ass. We haven't made the playoffs in 12 years, and we still have won more rounds than you in the last 20. Get out of here with that garbage.
Oh, that's technical. Last 20, yeah. Last 20 is correct.
The last 20 years, we've won more rounds in the playoffs than the Maple Leafs, and we haven't made the playoffs in 12. So, whatever, man. I'm absolutely loving every second of this. Such a great night. A lot of back and forth, just high intensity. The Sabres keeping their foot on the pedal. They were really never out of this. They were never losing. And even when they were pushed up against it, when they tied it up at 4-4, Matthews having like a legendary night. The Sabres just wouldn't be defeated tonight. You know, where was this passion the night before? Were they saving it for tonight? I don't know. But like Alex Tuch having a phenomenal game, and just honestly, Tage Thompson continuously proving why he's an elite player in this league, top 5 in my opinion. Just every single game, even when he's not scoring at the same clip as say Matthews or any other elite goal scorer, you can see him in every game literally doing everything he can to put this team on his back. And that shorthanded goal was a great example of it. And like, again, even last night in a game where we were just dominated from start to finish, like Tage Thompson was doing everything he could to try and get his team back into it. Like he was the best player on the ice last night. He was the best player on the ice tonight. And, you know, all our worries about Devin Levi and making his return, you know, from probably a groin injury, he put that all to bed tonight. Made big saves when saves are due, and biggest being that save at the end of the first period, going coast to coast on Matthews, getting a piece of it with his glove.
Yeah, he was really sharp for the most part. I wouldn't put too many. I mean, maybe you want to save here and there. I think that obviously Marner had a really good game. The Sabres were down 1-0 actually, but that says even more the fact.
I'm sorry. Yes, yeah. They were. I'm sorry. We came back and tied it. I'm sorry. We were losing.
It says even more that they were able to come back from being down 1-0 against a really, really high-end offensive talented league team. I thought Levi was good, especially his first game back in 2 weeks. I think he looked really sharp. He's known for his quickness, right? And he going across his crease tonight, he was particularly strong.
And not that I disagree with you, not that I'm trying to be a Levi stan, but I don't really think I put any of the 4 goals on him.
Well, that's the thing. Like I think he himself would say, I wish I had a save or two here and there. I think the Matthews, not the tip, maybe in front of the net, he did actually get a piece of that. So I think that if he did
leave Matthews alone in front,
no, of course, obviously,
not many goals are really stopping either of those shots.
From his perspective, I think he'll look back.
At for sure. Every goalie is going to be critical of themselves.
But no, I don't necessarily put that on him, and he made the saves he needed to win the game tonight. But the Sabres deserve to win. Outshot the Leafs 40-29 in their building. A team that, as I said on the pregame show, I thought they were going to just throw the puck on that. But it didn't necessarily turn out to be that way. I think they took advantage of their opportunities. And aside from a few breakdowns, which led to the goals, I think the defense did hold them in check for the most part. And as you talked about with Tage, the penalty kill is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
The reach that Tage Thompson and Jordan Greenway have is just really, really hard to get through as a power play. They are taking up so much space in the defensive zone, and the penalty kill, it's got to be a top 3 unit in the league right now. They were top 5 going into this game, and I think they did let up 1 power play goal, but for the most part, especially against a unit like that, it's really impressive. So yeah, Tage has come a long way, and the fact that he's not like a Selke candidate, like potentially if he keeps up his scoring pace, a Hart candidate as well. It's really amazing to see the strides he's taken.
Dude, like literally, Tage does everything now. He's the ultimate utility man. He's gonna score. He's gonna score goals. Like he's gonna score at an elite goal scorer levels clip. Obviously off to a slow start. I mean, I was honestly kind of surprised to see that Matthews only had 8 goals coming into this game, because he started off with 6 in the first 2. But goal scorers are going to find ways to score, and like even when things aren't going their way, they'll will the puck in the net, much like that shorthanded goal. He wouldn't be denied.
I think the second Matthews goal is the one Levi went back the 5 hole. He's wide open in front of the net to power play, but the
second Matthews goal is when he is left open in front. I mean,
still open in front. No, I totally, maybe that was the second one. Either way, but the one where.
The first one was the power play goal. He was streaking up the middle. Bad. I mean, maybe it was his bad back check. I thought Tuck could have made a better effort to get a stick on him.
The second one was
and then the second goal, the second Matthews goal. He was literally. It was the pass came. I might have been from Marner from right behind the goal line, straight to the front, and he just deflected a top corner on Levi.
Yeah, the first one. I mean, it went 5 hole, and I think any 5 hole goal. Despite someone being in front of that, I think he got his stick stuck on his pads as he went down. Sometimes it's too close when you go into your butterfly, so that happens. I mean, it is what it is.
Still Austin Matthews.
Yeah, it's Austin Matthews wide open in front of the net, which should never happen. Weirdly, I thought Dahlin defensively tonight was not the best.
Bad.
I think he had his worst game of the season. He had his
that
worst
goal,
game of the season.
The second Matthews goal, I would put directly on him, because he was the closest man to him and did nothing about it.
Yeah, he had his worst game of the season defensively, but he made up for it offensively. I think he was the one who had the one-timer on the game-winning goal, which deflected off Alex Tuck. So you're going to have your lumps here and there. You're not going to have your best night, but he still is so good in the offensive zone, and he creates so many chances with his puck control and his ability. So I think that's an even game from him. And Alex Tuck, to the game-winning goal and then the goal to seal it. He blocks the shot from Klingberg. As the announcers, I was watching on NHL Network, the announcers absolutely ripped John Klingberg for what they called it was a lazy 50-mile-per-hour wrist shot. But Alex Tuck, to his credit, got in front of it, tipped it past the defender, got in alone for the empty net goal to seal it. I think
the effort on that was incredible. He blocks a shot, he passes it to himself off the boards, beats 2 Leafs to the puck, and scores to seal the game. That's nuts.
It's an amazing play.
Material.
And it's a different player than we saw in the first 6 games of the season. I was admittedly tough on him, and a lot of Sabres fans were, but it seems like it's a 180 from what he was playing early in the year. He wasn't strong on his stick. He obviously, to his credit, he's figured it out, and he's been so good the past few games. So I'm glad that's happened, obviously, because this team needs it. This team really, really needs it from him. The top line together looked great tonight. Skinner obviously had a goal himself. All 3 guys were able to come through tonight. And that pass from Ryan Johnson, oh my God!
Yeah, he roped it. Absolutely roped it to him.
That is the Ryan Johnson you saw at Minnesota. That's the Ryan Johnson that I think a lot of people are really excited for.
Who should be worried about their job? Henry Jokiharju. If that guy keeps playing,
I'd say so.
100%. Because I don't think you ship out Clifton.
No.
Not Eric Johnson. He means too much to the locker room. I think Henry Jokiharju should be worried about his job if Ryan Johnson makes it impossible for them to send him down, because that was an unbelievable debut for the kid.
Yeah, a 2-line pass right on the tape and just an unbelievable, unnecessary clap bomb from Skinner, top shelf.
Like just literally hammered them.
No reason to do that. No reason to do that whatsoever, but it works. He's one of the biggest beauties in the NHL. Yeah, I mean, this team, when they're confident and they're creating chances, is one of the most offensively gifted teams in the league. Yes. They have a very high ceiling, and that floor just needs to be a little bit higher on certain nights, for instance, last night. And they need to get off to good starts. Even with going down 1-0 tonight, I thought they were strong in the first period. So, yeah, just a massive, massive win. They absolutely needed that going into a game on Tuesday against the Hurricanes on the road. So it's going to be
tough to play a defensively strong team like the Hurricanes too. Like they're not going to give you as many chances as you got tonight against Toronto.
If you had gotten to 5-8 potentially after that game, that is pretty scary. So 6-6 looks a lot better going into a game against likely the favorite to win the Eastern Conference.
Yep. And you go in. I mean, people are you beat our backup goalie. Like honestly, like both your goalies are kind of like backup goalies. Let's be real. Yeah. Like I don't really have a ton of faith in either of your goaltenders. So either 1B and 2B essentially is what you have in net right now in Toronto. And to your point, like heading into Thanksgiving, you want to be at least slightly above 500. That's where they're trending right now, and the wins they have are impressive tonight against Toronto, Colorado, Ottawa. I mean, those 3 teams alone are 2 of those 3 are division teams that must win games. You have to play good in your division. Those are the teams you're going to see the most. And then you go out and you beat a former Stanley Cup champion 2 years ago in the Colorado Avalanche. Things are starting to trend well. I mean, Jeff Skinner's been playing the same way essentially all season. He's going to score goals. JJ Paterka has been a really nice surprise. A guy who's taken the next step and had a nice breakaway there almost to get 2. And,
off an amazing block from Jordan Greenway, right? who had an incredible game tonight.
Did you see that? Okay. Did you see that play before when he lost his stick? Mm-hmm. He kept on trying to pick it. He made 4 attempts to pick up his stick and he couldn't. He couldn't get his stick up. So he said, fuck it. Just went in there, made a huge shot block and kicked it out to Paterka, who, to give credit to Willie Nylander for getting back and hauling ass. That's a guy too that I don't think gets enough credit. People, love to polarize Matthews and even Tavares to a certain extent, but William Nylander, dude, that guy is absolutely a horse and got on his horse and got back and made it tougher for Paterka to do what he wanted to and made it a little easier on Wool. Just a nice surprise this season from JJ Paterka, a guy who we weren't sure what we were going to get out of him with Jack Quinn being out of the lineup.
Unsung hero of the team so far, I'd say.
I agree. I would definitely agree with that.
12 games in, he's been incredible. Obviously scoring a lot, but his speed is so apparent out there. He's the fastest guy on the ice in the NHL at any single game that he plays. Even the ability to just flat out win that race cleanly. Nylander, as you said, great back check, but he still was able to get a shot off for how fast he is. But yeah, I think the linchpin to all of that, and I think he's making guys look really good, is Casey Middlestat. He had another amazing game.
He leads the league in like even strength scoring. I don't know about this year, but like I forget, it might have been said in our group chat.
Since the March of last year, his expected goals for created at 5-on-5 was second in the league behind Nathan McKinnon, if you've ever heard of him. So that's pretty good. It's not bad at all. Even just that line tonight with Peterka, like he was setting him up so many times. There was one in, I think it was the third period. He got a great pass. One of my favorite plays in hockey is when the player's going behind the net and he does a backhand to the same side he came from. Because the goalie is thinking that he's going to go all the way behind the net and come around the other side. But it's deceptive in a way where you can send it back to that same side. And Casey got the puck and he sent it back to Peterka, but Peterka whiffed on the shot. It was a bouncing puck, but it was just a really, really nice play by both Greenway and Middlestat to get a scoring opportunity. But yeah, all three of those guys have been unbelievable. And you've needed that because as we've talked about, like the middle six of this team and the bottom six has not performed in recent years, but they're actually getting some production from guys not named Alex Tuck, Tage Thompson, and Jeff Skinner.
Yeah,
so
that's huge. Like Jordan Greenway has been a real nice surprise. Another big goal for him tonight, big shot block in a situation where you had to defend and led to a scoring chance. And I just, you couldn't be, I mean, that fourth line, I know, talked about in the pregame, you need more out of them. You really do.
I do think they're proving their worth defensively.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
They're responsible on their own end, and that is their main role. But you do need a little bit more production, or at least some production.
Especially again from your first round pick in Peyton Krebs. Like you need to find that guy more ways to get more opportunities. I still
Casey Middlestat. He's going to get some opportunities.
Yes, exactly, dude. Casey just finds way to get you the puck and put you in successful situations. But before we keep going, I just want to, I know I was excited to start the show, but just want to show some love to our sponsors, Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's craft beer marquee tap room, 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. And they're open daily 7 days a week from 11:30 to 10:30 and later. Live music and events very often. And you can follow them at all their socials on Instagram, Fatty Beer, Facebook at Fatty Beer, and at Twitter, or now X at Fatty Beer. And just always remember, like I love about them, they are kid and dog friendly. Brought my dog there multiple times. He's always greeted with a treat from whoever is behind the pine. And don't forget Buffalogo, your premier local Buffalo sports apparel company. Go out, check them out at Buffalogo on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, pick yourselves up one of the Stefan 316 shirts, or of course, my favorite thing they have right now is the NHL Shield throwback hat that has BUF instead of NHL for the Buffalo branding. Go check them out at Buffalogo. Continuing on, I don't like how I understand elite goal scorers are going to find ways to score. I just don't like how wide open and how available Austin Matthews was to like do whatever he wanted tonight. That drove me nuts because that guy did whatever he wanted to do tonight at will. And again, against a team like Toronto, you got to find ways to answer that. I know we won, but you can't let that guy just get the opportunities that he got tonight. He could have had 5 or 6 goals tonight, easy. And he had 3.
Yeah, especially on that save by Levi across the crease, as we talked about, getting his glove up there. And then he lost his stick after that play too, and he was ready for the next shot. Thankfully, one didn't get through, but it was really impressive recovery by him. But yeah, I mean, as we talked about, like Dahlin was sleepwalking a little bit in his own zone tonight. Henry Jokiharju continuously sleepwalks, a lot of puck watching. Not having Samuelson, I think, is a bigger deal than we know it's a big deal anytime he's out of the lineup, but defensively and the responsibility in their own zone, it's going to be really tough to recover from if he's out for longer than a few games. Thankfully, Don Granato said before the game, it doesn't seem like it's too serious and it's not going to be super long term. So potentially could be back at some point next week, but they need guys that are going to be responsible in their own end. That's what they've done for the most part through 12 games this season. They've been way better than they were in the past, which is not saying much because they were the worst puck watching team in the NHL last season.
Yeah.
But I do believe that they're gonna need Samuelson back really soon. And then maybe, like you said, maybe you give Ryan Johnson a shot full time. I think Jacob Bryson kind of is what he is. I didn't really notice him tonight, which is also a good thing as far as he's concerned. But a little spark from a guy like Ryan Johnson who has a lot of offensive upside, as we saw with that pass tonight. Maybe he, being a rookie, would be more inclined to take care of his own end a little bit better than some of these other guys. I think Eric Johnson's been fine. Connor Clifton provides a physical presence, and in no way, shape, or form am I worried about Rasmus Dahlin moving forward. I think he's one of the best defensemen in the NHL, and he just had a bad night defensively, but made up for it offensively. But yeah, there needs to be some philosophical commitment to stick on stick, man on man,
It's a
knowing where your guys are in the zone.
End. It's if it's not
It
every
has been
other
better
game,
this year,
it's
though. It
every
has
other
been better.
game. It's costing us. It really is. Like, it's just, you can't just. I don't understand. Like, growing up, you and me being goaltenders. Like, what's the one thing we say when there's a man tie him up? Like, is it do the goalies have to start being more vocal about it?
I mean,
Like,
I always say, like, back door, weak side, watch the front. Because some of these guys, like, they get caught, like, as we've said, like, watching where the puck is and watching the guy with the puck. But the best players in the league are the ones that know where they're going to pass it. They're looking 2 plays ahead. Like Mitch Marner, for instance, like, his vision is incredible. Like, he probably has the most assists in the league, aside from Connor McDavid, in the past, like, 3 to 4 years. So when you are going up against guys that can make plays like this, you cannot be watching who has the puck, especially if it's him, because he's going to find the open man. And if it's Austin Matthews, he's the best goal scorer in the league. He's going to put the puck in the net.
yeah,
So
there's no debating that. Like, I love him to death. My buddy Chez, like, was being hard on Levi on Twitter, and he goes, he's not a starting goalie. Put him in Rochester, this, that, and the other. He's a 7th round pick. I don't know if you know this, but Ryan Miller was like a 6th or a 5th round pick. Dominic
goalie's draft position does not matter.
Yeah, 10th round pick. You can go up and down the list of elite goaltenders and where they're picked in the draft, and most of them aren't picked the 1st, 2nd, or even 3rd round. It's a fact.
It takes time to develop, and he's still very, very young. This is uncommon for him to be in the NHL right now. For the most part, he's holding his own.
Yeah, but like getting away from that, like, he even said, like, oh, Austin Matthews isn't the league's, but like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you talking about? He scored 62 years ago. Like,
Austin Matthews,
like what are you talking about?
Without a shred of the doubt, the best pure goal scorer in the NHL right now, and it's
like,
not even close.
Like, it's him, and then, like, Ovechkin, still at the age of like damn near 40. Like I don't understand, like, how anybody could think that guy isn't, like, number 1 or not at least, very least 1B next to maybe Connor McDavid, like a guy who goes out of his way to be a pass first guy. I mean, Connor McDavid at will, if he wanted to, could score a lot more goals. But when you have Leon Draisaitl on the team, like, yeah, maybe you dish him the puck as much as you can and let him score. But, like, I don't understand, like, how anybody could honestly have that thought in their brain that Austin Matthews isn't just number 1 or at the very least number 1B.
Especially just, like, pure goal scoring ability. Like, that shot that he has where he pulls it back on a toe drag and uses the leverage of his stick in a way to, like, quickly, like, change the angle on the shot is so hard to defend, both as a defender and a goalie. Like, that is one of the toughest things in the sport to defend. So he is able to do things with his body, with his stick, with the angles, and changing his position like in milliseconds before he shoots. It's really, really amazing. And he usually doesn't even have goals like he did tonight. The tip in front of the net, like, he never gets those goals. He's a pretty player, and he's fun to watch. He makes the game more exciting, and he's an American. You can't, like, we can shit on the Leaf, but, like, Austin Matthews is really, really good for the game of hockey.
Like, imagine like how good, there's been a lot of talk about the Olympics this past week and the NHL returning to it. Like, just imagine how good, or the condensed version of a World Cup of hockey. Like, just imagine how good and loaded Team USA should be. Like, it's going to be exciting. It's like, this is probably like the best team they're going to put on ice either since that gold medal game that they lost to Canada with Miller, or honestly back in the days of LaFontaine. Like, that's how good these teams are going to be.
Yeah, I would argue that probably in 2 years, the American team, it's obvious they're not going to be favored because of the depth that Canada has, and obviously Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard. But the American team, the high-end talent, like, might be there. They might not have up and down the lineup. The fourth line and third line and the third D pair might not be as good as Canada's, but the goaltending is going to be better, like, without a doubt. Like, Jake Ottinger is probably going to start, if I had to imagine. Connor Hellebuyck will be on the team. I forget who would be the third guy, but you have those two as your 1-2, and like, that's an amazing tandem. So yeah, and Tage Thompson could easily be the number 2 center on that team. So it'll be pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, I can't wait to see just on the international ice too. Much bigger. They still do the Olympics. There's going to be Olympics on Olympic ice, right? Like, I know in some other international formats they don't do it on Olympic ice, but like, just all that speed and all that just ability. I wish they would. I wish that the World Cup of Hockey were still going to do Team North America. I heard they're not going to do that again, but I'm excited, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. But getting away from Olympics that may or may not happen, let's keep talking. Let's keep rolling. I know we talked a little bit about Ryan Johnson, but let's talk some more about Ryan Johnson. Kid comes in, has a solid showing in his rookie debut, puts that pass on a string to Skinner. We always tend to see rookies have great games in their first games out, but I mean, can he continue this? Is this not going to be just a flash in the pan? He kind of slows things down, because I honestly thought he was their best defenseman tonight.
Yeah, I didn't notice him too much defensively, but I think that is also a good thing. He was their 7th defenseman tonight, I think, actually. So, yeah, I mean, in a spot like that, like, same with Devin Levi, like, coming into a very emotionally charged environment in a rivalry game against a really, really good team, especially with so much talent. I thought he performed admirably, and it's going to really come down to a discussion, especially when Samuelsson comes back, that probably going to be Jokiharju or him. Maybe you keep him up with the team to see how he does in practice, see how he meshes with his line mates or his D pairs. But yeah, it's getting to the point where on defense, like, they need to be better in their own zone. Obviously, I do think they've improved, but if you have the option of someone who's maybe like not as good defensively, but also has that ability to make those types of passes, make those types of plays. We saw what he did at Minnesota. Like, he was a play driver for one of the best college hockey teams in the country. First round pick. It took a while to sign him, but we finally did. And now, like, maybe just see what the kids got. They did the same thing with Devin Levi at the end of the year last year. If you find like a flash in the pan, like, you got to go with it. So yeah, I hope they continue to throw him out there and see what he does.
Yeah, like I said, Ryan Johnson was definitely very, very impressive. From one of the hockey hotbeds in Minnesota, just like Casey Middlestat. And Casey, I know we talked about him earlier, but I just
leading the team in points now.
Yeah, like, it's nuts. It's nuts. I mean, he's got 1 year left on his deal too, correct?
Yeah, they were debatably, I think, looking into giving him a bridge deal before this season, but obviously
I think you lock him up long term, just like the rest of the team.
The priority was Power and Darlene, but they're absolutely. He's a restricted free agent after this year, but I could easily see a 7 times 5 or 6 for him. Like, I
think he's earned more than 5, to be honest with you.
Yeah, six without a question. I mean, I don't think you pay him more than Cousins or Thompson, but if he's a point per game player this season, or if he gets over 65, 70 points, like, he's definitely earned that. So he's got 10, 3 goals and 7 assists and 11 games played. Wait, these stats might not be updated. Let me make sure. But before this game, at least, he was leading the team in points. So yeah, it's really amazing. And I was just looking in general, like, there is production up and down the lineup, like in a way that they haven't had in the past. Like they've got, I think, 7 or 8 guys with more than 6 points. So that's huge early on for this team. Let me see what the updated stats are, though. Oh, man. So what do we got?
Well, while you look that up, we'll get to some other comments here in the peanut gallery. From Chris Dirk, blow Luis, blow. What was that effort on Friday? Great team victory for us. Great back and forth action. Now let's get this. Now let's start getting over 500. Let's carry this momentum into the next game. Let's go Buffalo. Austin Matthews could score 10 goals in a game, and the Leafs could still lose. I mean, you're not wrong, I guess. The Leafs will win the President's Trophy and lose in the first round. I mean, I don't know where they are currently in the standings, but I mean, I actually kind of hope that happens because it would just be funny. It would be really, really funny for them to see them win the President's Trophy and then lose in the first round.
Did they not update stats after the game? Like,
no, it's annoying. It's annoying. I would always just look at the box score and just add on to whatever.
What is going on? That's so stupid.
Living from my new living just north of Toronto, it's very hard to be a Sabres fan, but I never crack. I give it right back to the Leafs fans that are never going anywhere with their hipster hockey culture. From Robert Seagrave, when Tuck skates hard, he's unstoppable, powerful skater. He really is, man. Like Eric from Buffalo, he was just on our timeline. He said, you know, it's kind of crazy how big and how good of a skater Tuck is until you see it in person. Like unbelievable skating, a power forward for sure. I think I would say he is a power forward as well.
Yeah, especially when he plays like that.
From Paramat Pictures, holy shit, Greenwood was a +3 tonight. It showed. Couldn't agree with you more. And again, from Robert, Ryan Johnson is the real deal. He's older, being a college player, but he's ready now. I think you're right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Casey was also +3. So Middlestat and Skinner still lead the team with 11 points each in 12 games. So
Tage hasn't even really hit his stride yet. Like,
no,
we saw it so many times last year with him. Like, he can go off in a snap of a finger and rip off like 10 points in 3 or 4 games. Like, he's very capable of doing that, and he hasn't yet. And wait till he does, man, because like, and it probably start to happen on that power play. Once you get that power play going, I know we had a power play goal for the second unit tonight, but once you really get that power play rolling, man, like the wins are going to start to come. They are going to.
7 shots on goal for Tage Thompson tonight.
And he doesn't dude, he might be leading the team in shots on goal.
No, he is without a doubt.
He has to be.
Yeah. I mean, he had 10 one game, but they threw the bra on the ice. For Austin Matthews hat trick. I tweeted that out when the Sabres won. Tarps off for the boys. Hopefully, I don't think she's gonna get that one back. No. But yeah, I mean,
hopefully it wasn't an expensive one too. You know how expensive those things can be.
The new Kim Kardashian bra. Tage is obviously we were concerned a little bit about Tage and Tuck early on. They had they did a podcast before the season. They talked about the feeling in this locker room, like how much fun it is, how much they enjoy playing with each other. And you can really see it on a night-to-night basis. Even like a guy like Jordan Greenway after he scored, like the celebration that they had with him and the enthusiasm he had on his face. And it just seems like a really, really good vibe that they have with each other. It seems like they're actually friends. They talked about how they have like distinct card tables on the plane and the same 4 guys always play with each other, but now there's like 5 or 6 different card tables. And being such a young group, obviously they have the older veterans here and there, obviously Oposo and Gergensons, but they have so much potential and so much ability to keep on this track. But it hasn't been the best start to the year, but they have the ability to play games like they did tonight. And I think they're going to. I really do. But they have it.
How about that reaction on I taped it from my own phone or videoed it from my own phone. But when Alex Tuck thought he was going to the box and they called Mariners and he's like, he was like literally skating towards the box. He thought it was him. That was awesome.
His mustache is so good.
Yeah, the handlebar.
Shout out Movember. I'm raising money for.
Yeah, aren't you doing something right now? You want to pump that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just if you go to Movember page, I think I'll put the link in my Instagram bio or my Twitter bio. But yeah, it's just Movember every year. Just grow a mustache in support of this organization called Movember that supports like men's health, testicular cancer, prostate cancer, mental health in general.
Yep.
So it's a really cool organization. They do it every single year. And I've been seeing a lot more mustaches this year, especially around the NHL. I think probably 50% of the players in that game tonight had a muzzy. So it was really cool.
I've never had a mustache too, and I can grow facial
hair.
hair.
I honestly think it's a really, really good look. It's becoming way more popular and way less creepy than it used to be.
Like, should I just like straight up just go down and just keep like a Stone Cold Steve Austin look almost,
or do like a Fu
get all the grizz
Fu
off,
Manchu or handlebars, like
right?
Screw it, right? Like it's fun. It's something different, and especially it's a good cause because like it is a conversation starter, right? Like why do you have a mustache?
It definitely is, man. When someone
it's for a good cause.
Obviously people who've known me a long time, hang out with me, know I grow my hair out a lot. Memory of my mom who passed away from cancer. Jeez, man, it's been like almost 15 years. It's been a long time, and she passed away from cancer, lung, brain, bone, and adrenal. And I cut 22 inches off my head this year, like almost 2 months ago. It took 3.5 years to grow, but like I'll probably do it again. In my third time doing it, I donated this time to Pantene. Makes wigs for cancer. Cancer patients, cancer survivors. And like I said, I'll probably do it again. So I'm definitely in favor of that. And I can't stress enough, check out Connor's bio and make sure you support his cause because it does, men's health matters, whether it's fighting, diseases like cancer or just depression and mental health. Like it definitely does matter. So I can't stress that enough. Moving on from that, not to move on so quickly from a subject like that, but what else? I mean, what else you want to talk about on tonight's game? Like I can talk for hours about tonight's matchup. Like I'm so excited right now.
It's always good when you beat the
Leafs.
It doesn't like I said after Tuck's first goal, there are no pictures on the box score. I always say when I play golf, like it doesn't matter how you do it, there are no pictures on the scorecard. Like
yeah.
The win is a win. Like it wasn't necessarily pretty and it was a back and forth game, but I think everybody bet on the over tonight. Like it was like not
Did you get your Levi 28 with a 28 saves?
Unfortunately not. They only had 20.
You not? I was thinking about you.
They only had
29. I know our guest for the pregame show for episode 143, he hit his was it Skinner anytime goal scorer he picked, or was it
I thought he said he did Middlestat, but
was it Middlestat? Okay, maybe he didn't hit it then.
Yeah.
I thought he said Skinner. I know he did.
I did do over 2 goals in the first period, which Peterka came through for me there, which was really, really cool of him. But yeah, you don't see over totals of 7 too often in the NHL these days. But obviously these two teams together, the run and gun style, the free play in the neutral zone, looking for rush chances and the high end offensive skill, obviously led to believe that was going to happen. 10 goals, obviously. So yeah, like I said, like anytime you beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially in Toronto on a Saturday night, hockey night in Canada. I don't know if you were out here, the game was on NHL Network. So they gave us the CBC feed, which was actually really, really cool. I haven't watched a CBC feed of a game in a really long time. The intermission with Ron McLean. Dude, does Paul Bissonnette do everything? He was on Hockey Night in Canada tonight.
He was?
Yeah, like he was on the intermissions of Hockey Night in Canada. That dude literally does everything. Hardest working man in sports.
Honestly, no matter what your opinion of Paul Bissonnette is, like he's a good ambassador for the game. He's a great ambassador for the game.
He's entertaining and like he has a lot of good points. And he may not have been the best player, but he knows his stuff. Like he legitimately is a good analyst. So I thought that was really interesting to see. And just from my perspective, listening to that broadcast, the play-by-play announcer was really complimentary of Devin Levi throughout the game. He, especially on the big saves, but the high danger chances, he was obviously talking about his quickness and his ability to recover from goals and make the big saves when he needed to. So just from an outside perspective, I thought that was really cool. And yeah, they talked a lot about Tage Thompson. So that was a fun perspective to view the game tonight. And I'm going to try to watch more because you can just feel the passion from the Canadian people when they talk about hockey. It is so much different than watching a game on ESPN or TNT. I think you feel it in Buffalo too on MSG. Obviously, I think Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray do a great job. But that perspective from Hockey Night in Canada takes me back to Channel 16 as a kid watching back in Buffalo.
I remember that.
Every Saturday night. So that was
Not
really,
well,
rest in peace. But,
yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that tonight. And I think the perception around the league, especially from a market like that, is that the Sabres are this fun and exciting team. And I think casual fans of the game enjoy watching them because they're going to make it entertaining. They're going to run and gun. They're going to create chances. Tage Thompson, I think he had a 2-on-1 and at one point, and he just for whatever reason, I think it created a better chance, but he had a double toe drag in the slot when he could have just shot it on net. Like, that doesn't happen too often. Obviously, Austin Matthews does that, but yeah, from an outside perspective, like, I think people are really, really latching onto this team, and it's really cool to see.
I agree. Well, I mean, I honestly, man, I'm not out of stuff to talk about. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I'm having like a loss for words here. Let's talk more about Levi and his return. We haven't really touched on that a lot. I thought he looked really aggressive. He wasn't, shying away or, sometimes when you come back from a lower body injury like that, again, we speculate it was a groin, that you're kind of timid. He didn't really play timid much at all tonight. He was still moving pretty good. Again, we go back to that save. Obviously, you give up a Matthews hat trick, but you can't really put much blame on him there. Obviously, UPL helped carry this team and went 3-2 to start the season. How do you see them handling the goaltending situation moving forward?
I think they need to be careful, obviously. They saw what happened when they gave Levi too many games in a row to start the season. I think it's good that they will have 2 days off now. They play Tuesday in Carolina. I think Levi probably gets that game. That's going to be a much tougher, slower game than tonight, obviously. So that could be a better situation for him. But yeah, I think they are careful with how they handle it. Obviously, like, back-to-backs, if you really need it, must-win games, I think you go to Levi. But I think UPL showed that he can be either a starting goalie at his best or a very good backup at his worst. And you ride the train, maybe 2 for Levi to begin with, 1 for UPL, or you just go 1-1. You see how it happens. But I think just the defensive responsibility needs to be better for both guys, especially compared to tonight. I do think they've been better than they were last season. But as I said, like, that's not saying much, right?
Do you think you run the same lineup back again against Carolina, or do you make any changes?
Depends who's healthy, right? Like, if Samuelson's back, obviously you put him in. Hopefully Cousins is back. That's just that came out of nowhere today.
Yeah, it has to be. They said day to day, so it had to be related to that fight at the end of the game last night with Hathaway. I know he was upset. I know he threw a chair in the hallway on the way out because obviously, how could you not be upset with that effort from the night before? That night, but like, especially with the way
what a touching tribute to Bob Knight from Dylan Cousins.
Good point. Yeah, for RIP Bob Knight. It's kind of crazy. Like, I saw a thing on him that he won 2 NCAA titles and only had 1 NBA like Hall of Famer that he coached his entire career. Like, that's pretty wild if you ask me.
Isaiah Thomas, right?
He had, huh?
Isaiah Thomas, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was Isaiah Thomas. Yes.
We interviewed Steve Alford the other day, the head coach at Nevada now, former UCLA head coach, and he was one of his best players at Indiana. But he spoke highly of him. Obviously, he was a controversial person, and I think
a lot of passion,
especially later in life. He had some interesting views, and he also choked a guy once, one of his own players. But really, really good coach. But yeah, shout out to Dylan Cousins for throwing a chair in honor of Bob Knight. But yeah, they're going to need him back. This team, like, they're not the biggest, obviously, and I think Jordan Greenway is really throwing his weight around out there, and he's providing the physical presence that they need. But they're a smaller group, and there are going to be injuries here and there. And I saw you tweet out earlier, like, what's it going to take for Yuri Kulik to get into this lineup?
Yeah,
probably one more injury if I had to guess.
I just don't understand. I mean,
I think the issue potentially is not even the issue, but their thought process is bringing the same type of player that they already have. Like, when they brought up Brandon Biro, or is it Biro or Biro?
I keep saying Biro. I go Biro.
Then Brandon Biro and Lucas Rusek, like, they have a little bit more jam. They have a little bit more physicality, and that brings a new element to this team that's not currently there that much. So bringing a guy like Yuri Kulik, obviously he's scoring goals at another really good clip in the AHL, and he's doing the same things he did last season. But I think their worry is filling the lineup with the same type of player, especially a young 19-year-old kid who doesn't have as much physicality. So that's my only thought. But it's getting to the point where if they have another injury, then he's probably going to be out. So we'll see how he handles it.
Yeah, and I look at Olofsson too. I'm really interested to see what type of trade offers that Kevin Adams had at the deadline, because obviously they were shopping him. Like, what type of offers were on the table for him? Because at this point, man, to get a guy like Kulik in the lineup, or Byro, or somebody who plays with speed and some jam and just doesn't look useless out there, I'd trade him for a 5th or 6th round pick at this point, man. Because it's getting bad. And I did not say that at the end of last season. It's like, you need to hold out for a second because he can score 30 in this league, and he can. Yeah. I even advocated, dude, try and sell him to the Knights, because Eichel spoke so highly of him during his interview when he still played with Buffalo on Spit and Chicklets. He even said, like, dude, this guy could score 40 in his sleep. Like, try and maybe sell him to the Knights to go back and play with Jack, because he was at his best when he did play with Jack. For the short period of time. So like now it's like you could justifiably waive him. You could.
Yeah.
How bad he is.
He did draw a nice penalty tonight. Had a good play on the boards where he held the puck, and I think we've seen a little bit more physicality from him and play on the walls, and I think obviously they're stressing that. But yeah, if he's not scoring goals, like, that is the one thing he's been able to consistently do throughout his career. So yeah, I mean, he's obviously not going to be a 4th-line power forward. That's just not the type of player
it's not.
So they might not be able to get anything for him at this point. And like you said, like, he might be a candidate to be put on the waiver wire. So
I don't know what you do with him. I think if you put him on waivers, he absolutely gets picked up. A team that will be willing to buy low on him and hope that maybe he in a different changes.
He'll have interest just when you look at his stats throughout his career, and you see what he's able to do with that one-timer. He did have one opportunity tonight, and he kind of whiffed it, and it went wide.
Is that the one that they still followed up? It was the JJ Paterka goal.
Was it?
Shot it wide.
Yeah.
He shot it wide. It rang back around, and Owen Power kicked it over to Paterka for the goal. So
there you go. Also, last night, I think Owen Power, probably from what I've read and what I heard, he probably his worst game of the year. He was +9 going into the game last night, and I think he was +4 after the game. He might have been -5.
Yeah.
It was really bad, but I do think he played a little bit better tonight. As we talked about, like, it's not going to be perfect from him. He's a 20-year-old kid playing in the best league in the world with some of the best offensive talent in the world. Like, he's not going to be a Norris Trophy candidate every single night, but getting him these reps, getting him 25 minutes of ice time is key in terms of his development. And he's got to make these mistakes, and he's got to learn from them. And I think for the most part, he has done that. And for the most part, aside from Dahlin, he's been the Sabres' best defender this year. So you can't be too upset with the kid, especially when he has a one-off night out of 12 games. So I'm not worried about Owen Power, and I thought he performed pretty well tonight.
Also, Matthew Savoy, 5 points in 6 games at the Amherst. I think he's just about done with his conditioning stint, correct? So, like, does he slot in this lineup at some point, or they just send him right back to junior? I would be very interested, especially if Cousins is out for another game. Give Matthew Savoy a chance to make his NHL debut.
I think his speed would be his greatest asset in the league. That's what everybody's talking about, and he seems to be setting himself apart with the Americans with how fast he is.
Yeah,
so maybe putting him with Paterka, just doing a track meet type line. I think that would be pretty cool. Paterka, Savoy, and Tuck would be a very fast line. But yeah, I mean, you might as well give him a shot, especially as you said. But do you bring up Savoy before Kulik? Like, that's the discussion that you've got to have. Of course,
he's already here, though. That's the thing. I think that's what you have. I want to make a decision on. Like Kulik, you don't have like an 8-game or 9-game window with him. Like, you can pick him up and send him back at any time you want. Whereas with Savoy, you probably want to have an idea of what you got there right now right now in the now. I personally would like to see it. How long is Zach Benson supposed to be out?
I think I saw week to week, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. And that's another guy who will probably be sent to Rochester for a conditioning stint, right? Like,
For
once
sure.
they could realistically, if you think about it, they could realistically just have these guys here for like half the season. If they
For
wanted to.
sure. If they do it correctly. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are probably, they used to be the best. They have their long-term injured reserve and they do their conditioning stints and they bring people up. They obviously don't have the depth or the pipeline that they used to, but the Sabres could be really intelligent about how they handle all of these guys. And as we've said, like, it's a really good problem to have. But I think you do need a little bit more. As we talked about, like, they're not going to bench Okposo. They're not going to bench Gergensons. Like, these guys have that defined spot at the bottom of the lineup on the fourth line. And for the most part, I think they've been relatively responsible defensively. They used to be the penalty kill, and clearly that didn't work out. So now they have Greenway and Tage up there, which is infinitely better. But yeah, like, it's just not going to happen. They're not going to bench their captain, even if the game has passed him by a little bit and he's largely the slowest player on the ice every time he steps out there. But I think his leadership and his what he means to this team speaks louder than the deficiencies that he has on the ice. So I think you just, like, have to not worry about that if you're a Sabres fan, and then you see what you can do with that third line or the second line in the interim. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Again, I would have loved to have seen them, I've said this before, go with a co-captaincy almost this year, just so you didn't kind of back yourself into that corner by not being able to scratch your captain for performance reasons. Not that, again, to your point, it's not that Okposo isn't giving everything out there. It's just there's games out there where he's clearly behind the play and, can't keep up. And, it would be beneficial to be able to have him out of maybe scratch him one every 4 to bring a guy like Byro up or Savoy up or Benson into the lineup, just to, put some more energy into that bottom 6. That's why I was like, you put yourself in that position by having him be the lone captain, because there are going to be games where his lack of speed is going to hurt you.
Yeah, I think I don't necessarily think it's hurt them yet, but it's definitely not helping. So yeah, I think you see what happens, but I don't know. And then the last thing is, I think the power play is still an issue. I think there is not enough creativity. Even the one-timer to Tage on the half wall, it's becoming kind of predictable. Like, even he had a 99.8 mile per hour shot off that one-timer. I think it was in the second period.
Wool knew it was coming. Like,
yeah, he knew it was coming, and the whole league knows it's coming at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he did it so many times last season where it wasn't as predictable because it was newer. Like, they weren't doing that as much the season before as they did last season. So maybe even just, like, thinking you're going to do that and sending it right back, or sending it across the ice, or making it seem like that's going to happen, and then finding someone else that's open. Because at this point, like, I think you are, and maybe not, but we potentially could make that save.
If you were to do that 10 times, how many times are you stopping it?
Maybe 2. I don't know.
I would be celebrating like I won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, if I stop it once, I'm going to be super excited.
And the thing is, if you stop it, it's because it just hits you. It's not like you saw it.
At the end of the day, like,
save's a save.
If it hits you, it hits you. That's a save. Yeah. Be big and let the puck hit you. That's what I was told growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think they need to use that, because I think the power play is as stagnant and uncreative as it is because that's their number one play. That's the button in the playbook that they're pushing every single time. And they need to do something else to change it up a little bit. Obviously, Peterka did get that power play goal off the Olofsson miss on the other side, which is great. And then it's a really good shot by him. But that shot was aided by someone being in front of the net, taking the goalie's eyes away, getting a dirty. It was a nice shot, but they need
you
more.
You have to find a way to clear up the middle of that ice more. Like Baran was talking about it.
Move around a little bit more.
Yeah, you try. It's telegraphed so much what you're trying to do, and you need to free up. If you're gonna try and free Tage up for that shot and have it be more effective, you have to get them moving out of that box, or even like in that 5-on-3, that triangle that they stayed stationed. They were very disciplined with it. They were, and they didn't give you any chances. But you also need to you have your feet moving. You yourselves can't stay stationary You need to do, almost like end arounds in football, just like, move the defenseman around, maybe put Darlene or somebody else into that spot and move Tage around just to get somebody following Tage around, because that's the guy they're most locked onto, watching him, because he's obviously been the killer on the power play. He's got the lead shot.
Use him as a decoy.
Exactly.
Find
100%.
a way to have him be the quarterback almost.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that it's coming. Send it right back to Darlene. Have him deflect it, put it in front. They need dirty goals to the point where right now I think they're the 28th or 29th power play in the league, and that is not good enough. Only 4 goals this season on the power play. I think they have 2 shorthanded goals and 4 power play goals.
Put him, honestly, you could even switch things around. He's a big body. You could put him in front of the net.
Yeah.
Have him be that guy. Look how good he can be in small ice situations with those hands. We've seen it along the boards, carrying the puck in.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
In that bumper spot, why not?
Doesn't even have to be in the screening the goalie. Just put him in a different spot.
Put him as close to the net as you possibly can. Free him up and now make him a dual threat. I think you should, because you got to do something with that first unit. You just have to.
I'd love Greenway in front of the net. Just put him there. He's almost an immovable object. Take the goalie's eyes away. Try to tip pucks, bang in rebounds. Doesn't need to be pretty. I think this team gets into a lull sometimes. Not even a lull, but they are too reliant on getting the highlight goal. They obviously it's a fancy team and they have a lot of skill, but you do not need to go upper 90 on every single shot. You do not need to have these insane toe drags, and
especially when the goalie's unimpeded in front. You need more bodies in front. You have to distract him. You just can't let him see. It's not even like him seeing the shot. It's him being able to see that that's where they're working the puck to. Not that you shouldn't expect that anyway, but the fact that he can see where they're working the puck to and just kind of watch the play develop, get in the goalie's grill so he can't make that move as well as Wool did over to stop that shot. Impede him a little bit. Not let him see that pass happen.
Yeah. No pictures on the box score, as we say. And the game-winning goal is a great example of that. Getting it over to Darlene, takes the one-timer. He doesn't necessarily do that often. Change it up a little bit, gets to the front, deflection, goal, 5-4, tuck gets the empty netter, 6-4 win. So, dirty goal got the win tonight, and I think they need a lot more of that moving forward.
Couldn't agree with you more. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up here? And I'll give before that, I'll give another shout out to our sponsors, Fatty Beer Company. Make sure you get over there. Tell them the boys from Two Goalies, One Mike sent you. 7 Western New York locations for the premier tap room in all of Buffalo. Dog and kid friendly bar. They'll always have a treat on tap ready to go for your dog when you bring them in, and greet whoever is behind the pine. Let them know that Two Goalies on Mike sign you. And again, Buffalo, Buffalo's premier local apparel company for all your Buffalo sports needs. Make sure you go snag one of those Stefan 316 shirts, and of course the Buffalo NHL Shield ball cap.
We might have some shirts coming, right?
Oh, I think so. Oh, we do.
Yeah, I think
we do. We've been kind of hinting at it. We got to stop doing that. We can't let somebody steal our ideas.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that'll happen.
Hope not.
I hope not either. But I think the 6K shirt is the first shirt we make. I think we got to do a Levi Jedi collaboration. We can do a variety of different things, or I think we should do a shirt where it's Tage in Times New Roman. It just says Tage period on the front. That's it.
Tage period.
It's a black shirt, white lettering. It just says Tage in Times New Roman font.
I like that.
Tage.
Why not? Keep it simple and clean.
I think that's all you need. So 3 shirt ideas already. Hopefully nobody steals them.
We're gonna get them rolling.
We have
collaboration from Buffalo logo again.
We have copyrights on all of those already. If anyone tries to steal that, we have lawyers.
We can't do that.
We will find.
Maybe we should actually come out with our own merch too for Two Goalies on Mike. Not a bad idea. Haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But final thoughts. Yeah, obviously massive win. Levi Jedi shirt. Take one. Let's do it. We're in.
Yeah, we're in.
We're doing it. But yeah, final thoughts. Obviously, huge win. Always good to beat the Leafs. I think Levi's back. He starts on Tuesday against the Hurricanes. Hopefully, you get Cousins back. Hopefully, you get Samuelson. But for the most part, especially after last night, to outplay one of the better teams in the league, to deserve that win, to face as much adversity as you did. I think it's the first game of the season that they won after going down 1-0. To have the lead 3 or 4 times and then give it back up and then get it again with a dirty goal to end the game. And Alex Tuch, obviously, what else can you say? He seems like he's all the way back, and that is one of the best things that can happen for this team. So, yeah, Tage, Tuch, Skinner, Middlestat, Peterka, Dahlin offensively, Ryan Johnson, and obviously Devin Levi did what he needed to do to get the win tonight. So massive win for the boys.
I also cannot wait to see Steve Dangle's LFR tonight. If you're all familiar with Steve Dangle from the Steve Dangle Podcast Network, he does his Leaf fan reaction videos. The legendary David Ayers, you lost to a Zamboni driver video, one of his best. But they're always a little something added extra when they lose to the Buffalo Sabres. So can't wait to watch that tonight. Not that I'm trying to promote Steve Dangle, but I can't wait to watch that video. I love seeing Alex Tuch perform at a high level tonight. 2 goals, his second on the empty net, very, resembled the Jack Eichel empty net goal on RJ Knight. Seeing Tage on that shorthanded goal, he would not be denied. That's literally the only way you could explain it. And Ryan Johnson's debut was very impressive, and I can't wait to see more of him. I think that his performance tonight earned him at least another game, even with Sanderson coming back. I think you take somebody else out of the lineup rather than sending him back to Rochester, in my opinion. I don't know who takes a seat. We all know who I think it should be. And then Devin Levi, again, showing up and playing strong and making the saves he needed to make to get Buffalo win tonight.
5-3 score prediction. Pretty close, 6-4.
We were 5-3. I did predict a Ryan Johnson goal. Got an assist, a beautiful pass to Jeff Skinner. Those are my final thoughts. Remember, everybody, go check out Fatty Beer Company and Buffalo Logo, our premier sponsors. And I'll hang up and listen. We will see you later. Maybe early in the week, we'll rip an episode. Go check out episode 143 with Josh Potter, which we recorded right before tonight's game. And make sure you're following us on our platforms. Me at Duane S39 on Twitter and Instagram, C Hurls 13, and at 2 Goalies 1 Mike on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and YouTube. Go leave a comment, anything helps. And I'll hang up and listen. Go Bills tomorrow night against them Bengals. Sunday Night Football. We all know how great QB1 is in prime time. Let's keep it rolling. And we'll talk to you guys later. See you around.